Hi, it's Mike from Pro Tools Expert. We're down at BVE in London on the DAD stand looking at the monitor controller system. In the first video, we took a look at the AX32. In the second video, we took a look at the DAD Mon. And in this video, we're going to take a look at something that's buried inside here, and that's the speaker processor card.
Yes, and that's the latest addition to the product. We have, as I said, been doing this monitor control for a couple of years, and it's always been sort of the main question from a lot of customers is, well, yeah, why don't you also do some EQ? You need that in a monitor controller. So we said, well, why not? Let's go away and figure out what this is about, and we've basically done this card, which provides processing for 128 channels at 48 kilohertz, and then scales down to 6496K, and actually goes all the way up to 384 kilohertz sample rate with 16 channels. So it's even suitable for DXT productions for those who are into the high-res audio kind of things. We have put in 1024 filters, which can be spread across the 128 channels. So it's on average 8 filters per channel, or you can go up to 16 channels maximum or 16 filters per channel as a maximum. So that was one thing we did. We also said, well, we need to do bass management. That's another important thing. So the whole concept is to have possibility to do EQ and bass management. And once you start coming to that and you talk to a lot of people, and as I always say, you ask 10 sound engineers how they work, you probably get about 12, 13 different answers.
Yes.
So we try to get all that and put that together and come up with something which is flexible, easy to understand, as easy as it can be with bass management, and relatively user-friendly to program. Because we could see some of the competition on the market, either you need to have an engineering degree to understand how to program it, or sometimes it doesn't really have the flexibility that you want it to be. And we try to find a good compromise on that. So again, we go to our Dadman software where you can go in and program it. And I will start with a relatively simple thing, which is the bass management side of it. So I will go to our monitor controller, and I'll do a very simple one, which is the 2.1, sorry. And we can go and do a bass management preset, which is very simple. On this one here, which type of filter do you want to apply, cutoff frequencies, and so on. Pretty much straightforward. If I go to my Atmos, I actually have, again, the same capability. But the difference is that in this case here, I've defined a format where actually we have 4 subs on the system. We can actually support up to 8 subs, which gives you a lot of flexibility, because once you go out here, you can actually go in and assign which channels do you want to go to which sub. So you can have a left sub, a right sub, a front sub, or rear sub.
Yeah.
You can have a bass managed sub, or a bass managed plus LFE, or a pure LFE. So basically you can design these 8 subs to be 8 different functions, all depend on exactly what you want and how you want to use them. So that again makes it extremely flexible, and it's just a matter of putting in all the right numbers and additions and whatever, and then you have your bass management as you want it.
Do you find, because I mean, in my simplistic view, bass management is something that one does in almost a semi-pro environment where you haven't got full range monitoring. Now, I'm parking LFE because that's a different
that's
argument.
A different one, yes.
Yes. But when it comes to bass management with studio monitoring, one would hope that the studio monitoring is full bandwidth. So why do we see a significant amount of bass management in the software?
That is a very good question. As I said, when you speak to 10 sound engineers, you get 12 different answers. And there's a lot of different, I think, theories about how you want to use it. But again, it's some like to have it just to get a little bit more punch in the sound. Others, yeah, I think probably a matter of feeling, emotions, what you prefer as well. And of course, which speaker set you want to use.
Yeah.
I personally think, yeah, it does give a bit more punch to the sound.
But presumably in the film theatre, you are using subs as subs rather
correct,
than
yes.
more in a broadcast environment where you are tending to use full bandwidth monitoring.
Exactly, yes. So, and again, you could say, well, if you already have the subs to do the LFEs, then you might want to give it a bit more kick on the bass as well in that case. So, again, when I speak to people about speakers, there's a lot of different preferences. as you can imagine. But anyway, you have the option, and you can even switch it on and off from the software, so you can list it with and without. We'll see an example of that in a moment. So that was the bus management, which you can set up. So to do the EQ, we go down here. Let's do a simple one for 2.1 output. We press VQ, which opens up a window here, where we basically we have our left channel, our right channel, and our LFE channel. So we go in, and in this case here, I've already put in 3 different filters. I have EQ1, which is basically a parametric, 12,450 hertz, minus 8 dB, and a Q1. And I have another one here, and I have a high shelving here, and I can just add another EQ and say, now I'd like to have low pass, high pass, whichever type. Let's do just a parametric, and we'll give it a frequency of, I don't know, 1,500 hertz, and minus 3 dB. And then suddenly we have that added as well. And what we can see is the white curve here shows the frequency response. Now that's not shown correctly because of this VQ, now it's enabled. And now you can see it looks a little bit weird, but that's the demo purpose of it. And you will also notice that it actually has the bus management indicated here.
Yeah.
So if I switch off bus management, of course we get a flat frequency response in the low end as well.
Yeah.
You'll also notice it actually on the peak meters we have here. If we just go up a little bit, you'll notice as soon as I switch bus management off, of course it disappears from the sub-channel. And you probably can't hear it on the microphones here, but you can definitely hear it on the speakers when you switch bus management on and off. And if we go to our Atmos output, then of course we have more channels, but again we can just add whatever EQ you want to add to that and set that up.
But how about any form of analysis to actually work out what
that is
curves?
At the moment, or you set it up manually as we've shown here. The theory is that, of course, you can measure it with whatever equipment and software you have, whether that's a smart software or similar thing, which gives some idea about where you are. And then you need to, at the moment, type it in manually and program it. Again, it's a discussion we've had a lot with the acoustics engineer, because there are some who prefer to do everything themselves. They have their magic hands, so to speak, and others, well, they like to just press a button and auto-tune, and that's it, and then maybe tweak a little bit afterwards. So it's a little bit different what they're doing. But in the initial phase, we go out with a manual version here.
Yeah. So you use some sort of analysis software like
Correct.
Smart.
It's like Smart or
it
others.
tells you a curve, then you build the curve manually with the EQs.
Yes. Yeah. So whether that will develop further, we'll have to see about that.
What about phase or time alignment?
We have time alignment in the sense that we will have a delay, which you can actually adjust. So at the moment, it's running on a prototype card, but we can go up to 150 milliseconds per channel in steps on one sample. The idea is to have one for the position of the speakers, so that's the timing delay, and also a global delay for lip sync, because typically if you have a projection system, you have 1 or 2 frames of delay in the video, and then you need to, of course, align the audio to that. Yeah. So that's the 2 parts of it that will be in there as well. So, yes.
Great. Okay. Well, there we go. That's 3 little videos from here in BVE in London on the DAD monitor controller using the AX32, the DAB Mon, and the new speaker processor card that goes inside the AX32. I've been Mike Thornton for Pro Tools Expert at BVE in London.